So
Okay.
I'll just quickly say, so ideogram, definitely really
Yes.
impressive. Midjourney, always impressive. Vectorizer is super powerful, super accurate. However, there's also another AI tool, which I haven't mentioned yet, which is
Okay.
actually, in my opinion, also super powerful. And that is...
Hey everybody, I'm here with Philip Anders. How you doing, Philip?
Very good. How are you?
Great to have you on, Philip. And I are both YouTubers, fellow YouTubers, print on demand. We both love AI, so I thought I'd have him on here. I have him as print on demand artificial intelligence expert, and that's because when you search on YouTube and you type in AI print on demand, you're most likely going to see one of Philip Anders' videos on there. He has a ton of AI experience, ton of AI videos. Thanks for joining me on this channel.
Thanks for having me on. It's a great honor. When I started with print on demand in my early days, I remember watching your videos a lot. So
Thanks.
it's nice to now actually be with you in an interview. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, it's been I've been wanting to have you on my channel for a while. I know I've been on your channel, and so I definitely wanted you on here. And this is a perfect time because AI. We both have done some AI videos, and I think AI has taken off. And I'd love to get your input on this. I'm going to call this video AI question and answer video. All your questions answered for AI. Hopefully, we answer all the questions in here. But before I start, I wanted to read your bio just for anybody that doesn't know you. We're gonna do a quick read of your bio that you sent me, so I'll read that right now. Philip Anders started print on demand back in 2018 on Redbubble and quickly fell in love with the idea of building passive income streams by doing something that he enjoys, which is designing. I enjoy that as well. Since Philip was a teenager, he has also been searching for ways to do something creative for a living. And after quitting his 9-to-5 in 2019, Philip went all in on POD, on print on demand. Even though his first year was very slow, he managed to replace and outperform his previous 9-to-5 income. Now Philip Anders sells POD on over 10 platforms as well as digital downloads. Since 2022, he also loves making YouTube videos to help people build their own passive income streams and hopefully get to a point where they can quit their job too. Passing on knowledge to so many people has been a blessing to Philip. Thanks for being on this channel, Philip. This is awesome.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm happy to be here. Excited to talk AI. I know a lot of people are, maybe a bit apprehensive or have questions about it. It is quite a new topic, and that makes it more exciting, I think.
It does. And I know we can talk all day about print on demand, but I want to be more specific on this interview with artificial intelligence. So we're not going to dive deep into like how you're doing on print on demand and what print on demand platform. We may touch a little bit on that, but I think this one's going to be specifically for AI, if that's all right. So we'll just jump into the first question. You okay with that?
Yeah. Let's go.
All right. So how has AI changed the print on demand business for you, or as a whole, actually?
In general. Yeah,
in general.
So I think it maybe hasn't changed it as much as people might assume. So one thing that it definitely has done is it's made design more accessible. So one example would be, for example, or one analogy would be, because of the mobile phones that everyone has now, photography has become more accessible to everyone. So
good point.
Everyone can make nice photos. That doesn't mean photographers are irrelevant. They still exist. But now that we have phones, we have more access to photography. With AI, design is more accessible, meaning you can create really nice designs without needing to have a Vector subscription or without having to be super talented in Adobe Illustrator. So it makes those things easier. Back in the day, maybe a lot of people would have had to outsource design work. And now if you have a Midjourney subscription, you can do a lot of that work yourself if you put in the time and the effort and you learn how to properly use the tool. So that is one of the biggest impacts, I think, that AI has had so far on print on demand. I think what a lot of people are wondering is, has it oversaturated the market? Because now everyone can do great designs. And I don't think that's the case. I think there's always been a lot of competition in print on demand. And I'm guessing you've been around for longer, but I'm guessing probably even 10 years ago, people were asking, is it too saturated? Is
They
it
always
still
do.
worth starting? Yeah. And
Mhm.
I don't think that just because there's now an easier way to create designs that it's oversaturated. There's still opportunities, new niches coming up, low competition niches. And I also feel like most people who are sort of new to this topic of print on demand and who try out AI, they probably don't do enough niche research to oversaturate the market. They probably upload very broad generic designs, which doesn't really, make much of a difference in the long run.
Yeah, that's a good point. I love your analogies with the camera thing too, because everybody has access to a camera. Everybody now has access to uh, AI art and things like that. And yeah,
Mm.
I think the people that say it's oversaturated really like to use that as an excuse to not do more or do something different, or because like if you think about it, like restaurants oversaturated. There's tons of restaurants, but you can think of new restaurants that pop up every day or new things that come up every day that are in a saturated market. So I think it's just an excuse most of the time to not innovate, right? And
Yeah.
do something new. So great, love it. All right, that was question one. We got some good answers already. Okay, question number two, and kind of relating to what a lot of people are worried about when you said Mid-Journey and subscription. So, is it legal to use AI art for print on demand? Is it commercial free?
Yes. So there's multiple sort of levels to this or areas, and I
Yes.
made a
Yes.
separate video about this. But
Oh,
essentially,
perfect.
there's three main questions you have to ask. First of all, the marketplace that you're selling on, does it allow AI art, or does it? Maybe I should say, does it specifically say that you cannot use AI art? So if you look
Mm,
at the terms and conditions, is there anything about AI art in there telling you not to use it?
hmm.
I've done that research on multiple platforms, and it doesn't typically seem to be the case. And I've
Oh, good.
also emailed platforms and shown the responses in that video that I mentioned.
Hmm.
And it seems to be that they don't really mind whether it's AI or whether you've created it yourself. Um, that video was a few months ago, though, so
It's always changing. Yeah.
yeah, I'm telling you this so you can do your own research. So the first
Uh-huh.
level is the marketplace policies.
Hmm. Okay.
That's what's important. Then the second category to check would be, do you have a license for
Mm,
the AI tool you're using? So
hmm.
Midjourney, for example, used to have a free plan.
Hmm.
I don't think they have that anymore. But with the free plan, you didn't get a commercial license. You would have
Hmm.
to have a paid subscription. So
Hmm.
always check if the AI generator that you're using actually gives you commercial rights. Leonardo, I think the free plan, you can even use the images commercially. So
I think
that's
you're right
that's a
too.
good
Yeah.
one. But always double check, because these rules can always change
Hmm.
over time. So that's the second thing, is do you have commercial rights through the AI generator? And then the third thing, and this applies to print on demand in general and is super important, is what sorts of graphics do you actually
Hmm.
generate?
Hmm.
Because if we look through like the explore pages or the community feeds on all of these AI tools, you usually see a lot of infringing content, which is okay if you're just using it, for personal use or for fun,
Right.
for exploration with the tools, that's fine. But if you want to sell it on Amazon, say, or Etsy, and to give an example, let's say you're creating Star Wars themed designs like Darth Vader,
Hmm.
you can't sell those on Amazon just because you have a commercial license through Midjourney. It
Hmm.
doesn't work. It's still infringing on a brand. Same goes for celebrities. A lot of people generate AI art with celebrities in them. So that is still not allowed, regardless of it being AI art. If you're just creating, let's say, dinosaur designs,
Hmm.
that's fine. Okay. It's
Yeah.
the branded stuff that's not allowed.
Yeah. Good points. All right. Yeah. So those three things, I think you hit it right on. And there's so many AI apps out there coming out that it's good to check when you try a new one.
Hmm.
Check those two things, and of course the copyright stuff. So great, and I'll make sure to put that video somewhere when you're talking.
Okay.
So we'll have it. That's a great one. Okay, so number three question is, and I think this goes along with what you're saying. Are there any other risk? I think people are kind of not getting into AI because maybe they feel like it's risky right now. So what are some of the risk of using AI art?
So, I mean, it is a risk, obviously, if you're using it and creating, intellectual property stuff. But
Right.
once you know that, you can stay away from it. So I think that's fine. Some other risks I would consider with AI art is that sometimes the images are not accurate. So we all know the issue with the 6 fingers and
You're right.
giving wonky results for more complex stuff. And I think the risk there is that the design might look okay at first glance, but if a customer maybe gets the t-shirt or whatever and then sees that it looks distorted, then they might return it. It might be more likely to return than, say, a Vexus pre-made graphic, which is actually designed by a professional designer. So that is maybe one risk. Also, if you're not upscaling correctly and it turns out that the design is pixelated, or the print is pixelated, I should say, that is a risk again to cause returns or dissatisfied customers. So definitely one important factor is knowing how to upscale or vectorize properly. On that topic, I could also see removing background being a risk, because a lot of people struggle with this topic from what I can tell from my comments. Removing the background can be quite tedious, and there is some tools to sort of make it more automated, but those tools are not perfect. Those tools are not perfect. So oftentimes you will see some of the background has been removed, some of it hasn't. Maybe there's a bit of like foggy edge where the opacity is lower, like 50% opacity. And we all know that doesn't really print that well, or it probably won't, it won't look that well in real life. So those are some of the risks. Is whilst AI gives you great quality designs, it's not perfect. And some of the other steps involved with it could make it more likely to get returns, which is obviously something we want to avoid.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. I think a lot of people probably see this AI thing and think it's like a push button thing, like, oh, I'm going to just keep making designs just with a click of a button. But it's a little more involved than that, right? Like you said, you have to upscale it. You have to remove the background. You have to watch for these different things. So it's not like I think the lot of rush that people have come to AI thinking that it's going to be the thing that fixes everything and makes things so easy, where it's actually not as easy as I think some people think. What, going along with the risk, what do you think about people say that AI isn't really copyrighted? Like somebody else could use your same design. What do you think about that kind of risk?
Yes. So that's a good question, and I've seen it come up a lot. So
Yeah.
AI art, as far as I'm aware, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not saying this is the exact answer that's correct. Like, I don't know exactly, but I think AI art is not copyrightable because it's not created by humans. So typically, if you take a photo, if you draw an image, if you create a design in Photoshop yourself, then it's copyrighted by default, meaning nobody can copy the design without your permission. It's different to trademarks. You don't have to trademark it. It's an automatic copyright that gets applied. With AI generated art, because it has been generated by artificial intelligence and not by humans, it's technically not copyrightable, meaning if you've created a dinosaur image in Midjourney and someone else sees it on your profile page, they could use it as well. Technically, that's how I understand it.
That's how I understand it too.
But here's where some of the things we'll talk about later, I think we'll allude to this as well, is just using the graphics on their own is probably not the best strategy. So once you make it your own, once you make the design your own, then it would be copyrighted. It's just the sole original element. So yes, it is a bit of a downside and a bit of a risk, but it's something I wouldn't really worry about, because there is so many people generating like millions of images every single day now. The chance that someone copies yours is like extremely low. And if people wanted to copy your designs, they would do it anyway. Like, we know this on Amazon. There's so many copycats that literally steal your design one-to-one and upload it to another t-shirt. So you can't avoid it. This is something that some people might be like worried about, but I think it's not really worth worrying about, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it's a big thing to worry about, because if you think about stock photography too, or stock sites, graphic sites, like if you go to Creative Market or Creative Fabrica or Vexos or whatever, everybody has access to that art too, and they can use it. So it's kind of the same at the same level, right? They could use it, and like you said, people copyright, even if it's copyrighted stuff, people take it anyway. So good
Yeah.
point. All right, great. Next question. We're running through these here. Can you break down the cost of some of the more popular AI apps? So we got Midjourney, I know Leonardo, we got Ideogram. You probably know more than I do, so maybe break down some of the top ones. I think most people think they might be free, or don't know how much it costs. So I think it would be nice for everyone to know kind of the cost of this.
Those are the three that I know. I know there's a lot more, but
Yeah.
I don't know the specifics of the pricing. I've got some notes as well on the side. So basically, with Midjourney, which is sort of the market leading in quality, I guess you could say, we've now got a $10 plan. That's sort of the entry level, and that one is good for just getting started and testing it out. You get 200 generations,
Okay.
which sounds quite a lot, but AI, if you've ever used it before, it's quite addictive. So most likely you will run out of those 200 before the month has ended.
Yeah.
But it's still
I've blown through it in 2 weeks on one month.
Yeah.
Because I just kept, like you said, wow, this is fun. Oh, I can't do this anymore. Well, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bottom plan is good to get started, but yeah, you will quickly run out of them. Then it moves up to $30 a month, which is the one I would recommend to most people, because with that plan, you already have unlimited generations.
Oh, wow, unlimited.
There are two different ways to generate the images in Midjourney. One is the fast mode, and one is the relaxed mode. With the $30 plan, you get I think it is 15 fast hours. So that is a lot of time. Like if an image takes a few seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds to generate, it takes a long time to fill out those 15 hours. But even if you run out of those, you've still got the relaxed mode where it just takes longer, but you can still generate stuff. So that's why the $30 plan is, I think, enough for most people, right? From there, it moves up. There's a $60 plan, which gives you more fast hours and a little bonus of stealth mode. So this is what I used for the longest time, where you can have your images hidden, and even if people visit your profile page, they can't see what you've generated.
Interesting. That's cool.
Yeah, so that's definitely a good feature. It's quite a jump in price, like from $30 to $60 a month.
Twice as much, yeah.
So it depends, how much budget you have and how much you're actually going to use Midjourney. And they do have an even bigger plan now, but I don't know the specifics of that, and it's probably not applicable to POD. But yeah, so that's it in terms of Midjourney. Leonardo, if I'm not wrong, you can use it for free. You have a limited amount of credits per day, so I think it's 150, which does give you quite a few generations depending on your settings. Yeah. One downside to the free plan is you don't get the new alchemy feature, and alchemy tends to get really good results for many topics, whereas having it turned off, it doesn't look that good. So I guess they're kind of trying to push people into getting a paid plan that way. But it is still, in my opinion, one of the best alternatives to Midjourney if you don't have any money to spend. I know a lot of people that are starting out with this might not have any budget, so try out Leonardo. I know you've got a lot of videos about it.
Yeah, I love it.
I think you were the first to actually create like print on demand dedicated Leonardo videos.
Nice.
Which is cool. So I've tried it out since as well, and I really like it. The free plan is commercial, has commercial rights as well, so that's good. And from there on, it moves up a bit like Midjourney, I think, to $12 a month and then $30 a month, which both of those plans essentially give you like a higher level of credits. And yeah, those will be more than enough if you want to create lots and lots of images. I know a lot of people who really like Leonardo's interface and prefer it to Midjourney, which is understandable. I think Midjourney is lacking a bit using the Discord interface. They should really get their API sorted so someone can, use it in a better way on
Yeah.
a different platform. But I think that is still to come. I don't think it will be attached to Discord forever, hopefully.
Still early.
And that's it in terms of the pricing for those two. Ideogram or ideogram. I actually just read a comment on my YouTube video saying it's pronounced ideogram.
Yeah.
That's
That's
what
what I thought.
most people say ideogram. Or maybe it's just me, I don't know. But that one is fairly new. It's only just launched recently, and therefore it's still free.
Nice.
I can imagine it's going to have a paid version in the future. But Ideogram is really worth trying out for anyone because it has the ability to create text as well,
Yeah.
which Midjourney and Leonardo can't do. So super exciting. I just made a video comparing Ideogram to Midjourney as well. That was quite
Nice.
interesting to see the differences.
That's great.
And Midjourney didn't always win. Well, obviously with the text, it kind of lost out, but you know, it was not how you would expect that always one tool wins or always the other one does.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's in terms of the pricing for the tools that I know of.
Okay, perfect. This is great. All right. So I use those as well. I love those, all of those ones. And I learned ideogram or ideogram. I've heard it both ways from you actually. So watching your video, I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. So I made a video as well. But amazing, and it's just getting started. So man, I can't imagine what we're going to be talking about in 2 to 5 years, from now. So
Yeah.
okay. If someone's just starting off with AI, what should they know? What are some basic things that they should know if they're just starting out?
Yes, I kind of touched on this a little bit before, but basically, what you should know if you're starting out with AI art is that just having a good quality design is not what makes someone succeed at print on demand. It might seem that way, but it's not typically the case. So you could have the best design in the world, but if no one finds you, in the marketplace, you've lost. Like, that's the end. So niche research is a massive aspect of print on demand that is super vital to getting sales. And that's what I would recommend to anyone who's starting with AI art is look into research as well. Learn how to do research, how to pick the correct niches rather than just creating, it's kind of our fault as well with our videos because we show people how to create like dog stickers or whatever. If you just create very broad generic things, then you're probably going to struggle. On that topic as well, it helps adding phrases. So that's why ideogram is so interesting. Most of my designs, I wonder what it's like for you, but most of my designs that get regular sales have phrases on them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of mine
And
too.
if you look through the top 50, top 100 Amazon merch t-shirts, again, there will be the odd one, which is just a graphic, but most of them have phrases as well. And so, yeah, just creating amazing designs is not the only thing that you should be worrying about. There's also SEO, right? Listing SEO. So having good titles, description, tags to, once again, make sure that people find you. So do not assume that only through having a good tool to create designs, you're going to do well. It's like photography, right? With the phone, just because we have good photo cameras in our phones doesn't mean we can be a wedding photographer and no one would hire us to do so. So yeah, that's one thing to bear in mind.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I say it all the time. I think people are looking for the quick win, right? The quick, oh, I'm just going to use AI, put it up there. And print on demand as a whole, I think a lot of people just jump in and think, hey, it's so easy. I'm just going to throw everything up there. And I get those questions a lot too. What's the matter with my designs? I put 200 designs up on Redbubble and I don't get a sale. I'm like, well, did you do any research? No, I'm just doing whatever. That's why. So
yeah, it's true. And it doesn't even matter if it's AI or traditional design. Like I spoke to someone yesterday on a coaching call and they had really, really nice looking designs. They were not AI generated. They were more traditional designs. And they were struggling to get sales. Now, they were mostly selling on Redbubble, which is part of the problem, I think.
It's harder, yeah.
But they had difficulties with niche selection, right? Some of the designs were just very broad phrases. So again, like design isn't everything, and whether it's AI or traditional, it doesn't really matter. There's more to it. You have to think outside the box and be creative and challenge yourself to do better than everyone else. Because yeah, everyone else can type in cute sticker, cute dog sticker, cute dinosaur sticker, and upload it. So how are you going to stand out? That's what you have to ask yourself.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. 100%. All right, this next question is kind of a combo question. What's a good starter pack AI slash, like, if somebody wanted to do AI for free and wanted to get started? You mentioned Leonardo, but you probably need more than Leonardo. Leonardo plus this and that, maybe upscaler or whatever. And then on top of that, the second part of the question, like, what would be the ultimate one once you start getting into it? What would be your kind of ultimate pack of AI upscaler or whatever? Okay.
Yeah, very, very good question, because I love making videos about free tools as well. And I have gone through quite a few different upscalers and workflows. So first of all, for the AI tool, let's put it this way. So you will need an AI design tool typically.
Right.
Then you would need a way to upscale or increase the quality.
Uh-huh.
Then ideally a design tool that will help you, like a non-AI design tool that will help you make changes or add graphics, add phrases. And the fourth thing, the fourth thing is for the advanced method. But in this case, like 3 different tools. So AI related, if you want a free starter pack, Leonardo is a great one to try out. Like we said, it does create really good results even on the free plan. And now we've also got ideogram. So whilst the graphics maybe don't look as good as Leonardo, the text is a big benefit, right? You can create cool text designs with it. So those 2 are worth checking out for the AI side of things. Then the upscaling. So there's many different options.
Yeah.
I would first of all recommend Vectorizer. Vectorizer AI. I know you use it as well. However, that is only going to be free for another like 2 weeks. I know that. Yeah, it's been in beta for ages, and it says free whilst in beta. And unfortunately, on the 3rd of October, it is going paid. And
oh no.
Yeah. So if you're watching this before the 3rd, use Vectorizer, basically. If not, there is one alternative that I know that has a free Vectorizer. It is maybe not as good in terms of its results, but the website is called dgb.lol, and they've got many different AI tools, but one of them is a Vectorizer, and that one is free to use. There's a bit of a queue system. It takes a bit longer, but you don't have to pay. That's the benefit.
Nice.
So if you're watching it after the 3rd, try out that site. Then sometimes you might want to use an upscaler, and I'm putting this in here because vectorizers work really well for like flat illustrations, digital arts, vector art, which is often what we see on t-shirts. But some people might be wanting to sell patterns or photography as like a poster, something more intricate, and in that case a vectorizer usually ruins the aesthetic. Or with the pattern I've found, a vectorizer often ruins the seamless edge, right? So
yes, it does. Yeah,
it does. So that's when I would then recommend an upscaler that doesn't turn it into a vector. It just keeps it as a raster image, as a JPEG or PNG, and increases the quality, makes it higher resolution. So some free upscalers that I would recommend is, first of all, dgb.lol. Again, they've got a free upscaler. And there's also a tool called Upscale with a Y at the end. AYL. And this tool you download to your device, and it runs on your device rather than on someone else's server.
Oh, wow.
The benefit of that is there's no queues, right? And if you've got a decent PC, you can upscale things quite quickly. And that one gets really good results. I've done comparison videos of some of these different free upscalers, and Upscale was one of the better ones. And they've also got lots of different models to choose from. So yeah, that way you've got more control about the result. And you can do even bulk upscaling, which is super interesting. So you could have one folder of, 30 different AI designs, AI graphics, and you could Just select the folder and it does it all in bulk for you.
Whoa.
If you've got a slow computer, it might give you a lot of errors, and that's when you want to, try out something like DGB instead, because that runs on someone else's server. Someone else is paying for the processing power. And yeah, DGB is free. It just has a queue system. So that's it in terms of the free starter pack, I would say. Oh no, design tool. I almost forgot that. So the design tool to add phrases or to maybe change the vector, that sort of stuff. One option would be Photo P, right? It's kind of a Photoshop alternative. So you can add phrases with that. But if you want vector editing, then you probably know this better than me, but Figma, I think, does vectors. Yeah.
Figma does vectors, yeah.
Yeah. I personally have never used like free vector editing tools, but I know there is Figma. There's also another one called Inkscape. I usually use Illustrator, but I think with those tools, you should have a fairly easy time sort of editing the upscaled AI graphics afterwards.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. Yeah, I love it.
And then the second part of the question, we can go into straight away if you want.
Sure. Yeah. So that's a good starter pack. What's the master pack or the?
Yeah. This is obviously that's like personal preference. I wouldn't say there's like one definite best way to use AI, but what I would recommend is, first of all, starting off with Midjourney, right? You have to pay for it, but it is still the best in terms of quality, in my opinion, and results. I notice this every time. If I've had like a 1 week or 2 week break from Midjourney and I go back to it, I'm just always impressed at how good the graphics look. Like you don't even have to spend that long to get so many good designs. So Midjourney, in terms of the AI tool, is still leading in my opinion. So that is worth getting. Then I would suggest having a research tool as well. So this is another addition.
Good idea.
Because like I said, research is so important. If you want to actually have the ultimate bundle, I would invest in a research tool. There is many good ones. I'm not going to say that there's one perfect one that you have to get. I usually recommend PODCS, which is fairly affordable, has a lot of features, or Flying Research, which is quite in depth. But there is many other tools. I know you use Pretty Merch, don't you? So
I do.
There's a lot of good options out there. So research tool is quite necessary in my opinion. In terms of upscaling, I would still pretty much recommend the same tools. Vectorizer, if it becomes paid, I would still suggest using that for the best results.
For vectors.
Yeah, for sure. I've also heard in terms of upscalers that, what's it called? I think Gigapixel, I've forgotten the name now, but there's like a paid tool where we can pay $100, like a one-off fee. Topaz Gigapixel, I think. Yeah, you pay like $100 one-off fee, and then you've got software on your PC that can upscale images.
Really?
And that tends to have really good reviews.
It's amazing.
So maybe that's the best upscaler. I don't know because I haven't actually tested the paid version. But the free ones are amazing still. So I don't think it's a necessity to pay for an upscaler. In terms of design tool, I would recommend Adobe Illustrator just because it has like an abundance of tools, and they're so innovative themselves as well. They've, for example, just recently introduced an AI powered feature to recolor your artwork.
Wow!
With a prompt or at the click of a button. It's super cool. So you could have a really complex vector graphic, and you say, "I want this to have a summery, warm color scheme." You hit generate, and you get lots of options for color schemes that you can quickly apply. So
that's amazing.
Typically, that would have been quite difficult to do manually. So Illustrator has a lot of features, really innovative, and that's just my personal preference. I'm sure there's many other good design tools. And then, maybe more unexpectedly, I think in the ultimate set of print-on-demand tools, when we think about AI, you also have to mention upload automation, because if you can create a lot of designs quickly, you also want to upload them quickly and not sit there all day, hammering on your keyboard. So My Designs is a great option here, and I've got a lot of videos showing how to go from My Designs, from Midjourney into My Designs and sell your art through them.
Oh, nice.
My Designs connects currently with Etsy and Shopify, so you've got two good platforms there to try out. And it also helps you with creating listing data in bulk, for example, or creating mockups in bulk.
Oh, wow.
vectorize in bulk, right? That's one thing I need to mention, actually. If you're
Okay.
watching this before the 3rd and you want to get as much use out of Vectorizer as possible,
Yeah.
whilst it's free, try My Designs. They literally have that same tool integrated in bulk. So you can, on the free plan, you can do 24 images at once. It's such
Wow.
a massive time saver.
That's cool.
And yeah, so My Designs, definitely worth trying. It automates a lot of processes, including the upload to Etsy. And Flying Upload is the other automation software that I've used a lot, or do use a lot for, selling on over 10 different platforms. So that's just going to save you a massive amount of time. And I think combined with AI, those tools are just super powerful. I wish I had all of these tools back like 3 or 4 years ago.
Right.
It would have been so much easier.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks. Thanks for sharing that. I'm gonna have to put those lists together for everyone. I'll put it in this video here so they can see it all lined up. But
Long
that's great.
list, yeah.
Long list. Yeah.
I like to give options. Obviously, you don't
No,
have to
those are
use all of
great.
these tools to understand them. But one, maybe My Designs will fit someone better than Flying Upload, maybe vice versa.
Sure.
You never know. Yeah.
Yeah, but the reason I asked that question is because I think people see AI and like, oh, that's all I need, Midjourney, and I'm
Yeah.
ready to go. And no, it's not. You actually need a whole bunch of other stuff in it. It's a process, right? So, okay, great. My next question kind of is, I think a lot of people are maybe wondering. I'm wondering this myself, and since you have a lot of experience with AI, I wanted to ask you, what print-on-demand sites have you seen the most success with AI art or AI generation stuff?
So far,
Yeah, so far.
yeah, it is still early days technically. If we think about print on demand, it's usually a long-term process. I always point this out in my videos. Typically, the designs that you create today, 3 months down the line, most of them haven't sold. Like maybe the odd one, but it usually takes like an entire year or maybe a Q4 to really start seeing some new designs sell. So it's early days, but from my experience so far, Amazon and Etsy is where I've seen the most sales with designs
Nice.
that have AI art in them. Maybe that's because those platforms just tend to work best for me.
For you.
But I'm sure that the designs can sell on other platforms too. We just have to wait and see what happens with Q4. But yeah, Amazon is a good one. And again, if I think about what sorts of designs have sold with AI, they have text on them. Like
it's not just AI.
Yeah, definitely. I have uploaded some designs that are just plain AI graphics, but it's harder to compete with those. So just another reminder to add text, and not just any text, right? If you're doing a Santa Claus design, don't put Merry Christmas. It's going to be too boring, right?
Yeah.
Typically, funny phrases do well for me. Something that makes a statement about the person, maybe like an inside joke. So you can get a lot of inspiration online. So if you see a funny phrase, and if it's not trademarked, you can use the same phrase and make a different design.
Correct.
So yeah, you don't have to always come up with your own ideas, but it does sometimes help being original and adding something new, giving things a new spin. But yeah, from my experience, mostly Amazon and Etsy so far have gotten sales.
Good. I have seen, and not a lot, but I just recently got a couple of sales for stickers on Redbubble. I know stickers isn't a big money maker, like you get pennies on the dollar for stickers, but I was surprised that I took some art, kind of clipped it out, made it a sticker on Redbubble, and I had a couple of sales. So
have you sold anything on Amazon?
Yes, I've sold on Amazon as well. I mostly sell on Amazon anyway, and I think that's why I'm probably seeing more, like you, seeing more sales on Amazon, just because I'm bigger on Amazon than I am on anything else. So, yeah.
And have those? I think you posted something about it was like a wave, or was it palm trees?
Yes.
It was like just a graphic.
Just a graphic. So I wanted to test that out. I wanted to see, like, because you're saying, and I believe this as well, like just graphic designs don't do as well with graphic plus text, but I wanted to test it out. I did 30 designs with just graphics, and that one stood out. Like that one's getting sales, the palm tree, because people love summer, and it's the summertime, and it relates to an audience, right? So I think that one helped out.
Yeah, one thing to note there is definitely like it's not impossible to get sales with graphic only. I
Mhm.
think our goal is just to make it as likely as possible that you make a sale. So that's why we keep saying, you
Yeah.
best add a funny
Chances
thing.
are, yeah, it's better
Yeah.
with, yeah. If you're playing the odds, and it's better
I've
with
I've
text. Yeah.
I've created like 10,000s of designs, and
Mhm.
that seems to be my experience, right? And
Yeah.
you've created a lot as well. So
Mhm.
yeah, I
And there's
mean,
outliers, right? Like I have this one right here,
oh
no
yeah,
no text on it, but it does really well. So there are some outliers, but you still have to find an audience, right, for it. Like you can't just put up anything on there. Like I think the reason why, like I said, the beach one, there's an audience. People love vacations. They love the beach. Like there's an audience for that.
mm,
So that worked out. Yeah,
definitely.
great. All right. So I think you alluded to this one, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What are the AI apps that you're most impressed by?
Yes, we kind of spoke about this.
Yeah.
There is one that I haven't mentioned yet, so
Okay.
I'll just quickly say so. Ideogram, definitely really
Yes.
impressive, or ideogram because it
Yeah. Yeah.
can do
Yeah.
text. That got me hooked very quickly.
Me too.
Midjourney, always impressive. It
Mhm.
keeps evolving. The new versions, they always get better and better. So that is one of the most impressive for sure. Vectorizer is super powerful, super accurate. So that is also really impressive, and I wish it stayed free. However, there's also another AI tool which I haven't mentioned yet, which is
Okay.
actually, in my opinion, also super powerful, and that is inside of my designs. So they've actually created a tool called Fraser AI,
Okay.
and what it does, or what you can do with it, is let's imagine you have 120 designs. That's the maximum
Okay.
you can do with like the top plan of my designs. 120 listings, and you have a primary keyword for each of these. So I know
Okay.
some people name their files with the primary keyword. So you could
Hmm.
you could do that, or you could just quickly enter like one or two keywords for each design,
Okay.
and then you select them. You tell Fraser AI to create a product description for t-shirts or for
Whoa.
hoodies or for mugs. So you can select the product, and you
Hmm.
can tell it, write a description. Actually, no, it doesn't write the description, but it writes the title and the tags, and it does
Nice.
it
Still.
based on like Etsy bestseller data, and
Whoa.
and you will get basically at the click of a button, if you have a primary keyword, you will get 120 listings that are written in a unique way with relevant keywords to your primary keyword,
That's
and that is
amazing.
super powerful, massive time saver, and it's an amazing AI tool, which is I think quite underrated. So
Yes.
I wanted to point that out. It's inside of my designs. I think the free version of my designs does not allow you to use that tool, but the first paid plan, I think you get access to it.
That's cool. Yeah, that's something like we talk about, and it's probably because we're designers. We talk mostly about, text to image AI, but some of the powerful text stuff that you're talking about, I think Amazon, I hope, I don't know, because that's for me, that feels like the bottleneck, right? Because I really love design, but having to type out the SEO with the keywords and the titles and the tags and the description, like if AI can do
Hmm.
that, like you said, like this one, that's a huge time saver and huge weight off of me who loves doing design instead of trying to figure out the right keywords and things like that. So that's awesome. I'm glad you brought that up.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
You always have to sacrifice something though. So with this
yeah,
tool, you will occasionally get a keyword which maybe doesn't fit 100%, which you wouldn't
yeah.
have put in yourself. But again, like if you want to optimize 100%,
Fast.
you
Yeah.
can you can go through it and edit the little things. But
Hmm.
yeah, what you have to kind of decide what's more valuable, my time or having a 100% perfect listing.
Yeah.
So that's where AI can help you as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. All right. Just a couple more here. Let's talk future things. What do you think will happen? And I know we can't predict the future, but what do you think will happen with AI and print on demand in the future?
Yeah, super interesting question, and it's hard to say what will happen exactly. I do think about this sometimes, but one thing that I could imagine happening is you probably know on Spreadshirt you've got the option to buy like marketplace designs, pre-made designs, or
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you can create your own, right?
Uh huh.
There's always been that option on Spreadshirt for customers. So I could imagine there being a model where customers can just type in their own prompt and then sort of create their own t-shirt with
Create their
AI,
own, yeah.
which that might sound scary if you hear that, because then you think, well, what do they need us for as print on demand sellers? But I cannot imagine a world where that's the only way that customers buy t-shirts. I can't imagine it, because it involves actually, using your brain and thinking and doing some work yourself, which most people can't be bothered to do. It's like in supermarkets where you've got a self-checkout option where you have to scan everything yourself, and then you've got the normal traditional human checkout, which is just way easier and less work. So you're always going to have people who want to do it the traditional way, I think. I also think that traditional designs will always sell and do well, because AI, a lot of the designs that you see selling well on Amazon, they are quite simplistic, and I find it hard to recreate them with AI. At least Mid-Journey is quite intricate. Some styles they're really good at, like the kawaii style that you really like. It's really good at that. But other things, or text, it's not really perfect. So I think for the future, like, things are definitely going to change, and we will see new things pop up, things will develop. But I don't see us just being cut out of the picture completely, at least not in the near future.
Okay. Yeah.
What do you think?
Great.
What do you think is going to happen?
That's a great question. I think a lot, like you're saying, it's going to come up, for the buyer. Not like it's right now. It's for us as designers to use. But I think you're right. I think it's going to start bubbling up to maybe Amazon or any of these Redbubble or any other print on demand, where you can say, here are some other options that AI has done. You like this? Maybe you like any of these, or try out this, or things like that, where they can. I know it sounds bad. They could cut out the, make some money on their own and just have an AI option so that they take the full sale. But I think it's also right to assume that, as AI gets better and better, so will designers will start thinking more creatively and doing things that AI can't do. And I think that's always going to be the case, where AI will start. You'll start learning, and people like us, we're going to use AI too as a tool. So we're going to be AI enhanced too, right? As designers. So I think it will even it out. So it's exciting to see where it's going to go. I just know AI is going to ramp up super fast. I saw a video where, they say AI gets smarter, 10 times smarter every 6 months, or every something like that. Some ridiculous
probably compounds as well, doesn't it?
It's just compounds. So, like, we see how fast it's growing right now, but can you imagine in 5 years when it's really hit? Like, I can't.
Well, we'll be stood outside and we'll write a prompt of build this house, and it'll just draw up a house in 5 minutes.
Yeah. And it's going to be smarter and smarter. It keeps gathering better and better data as we use it, right? So it knows, like, oh, people like this style, or people like these words, or these are the specific fonts that people love. Like, it's gonna just get smarter,
just the upscaling in Mid-Journey, for example. You've got the 4 buttons. I bet it tracks like which ones people click on and learns through that, like what do people prefer. So and that's just one example. There's so many ways it can just constantly getting smarter. So it's both exciting and scary. Like, I really love the experience. Like, 1 year ago, no one has ever or had ever used anything for print on demand related to AI, basically. And now look where we've already come to. So it is really exciting. It is also scary in some ways, but I think that's just life in general, and it's always been like that. Things evolve, things change. Like 100 years ago, the fields were filled with people working their butts off to harvest the crop, and now we've got tractors doing it, which essentially has been better for the world as a whole. Like, sure, some people lost their jobs through that, but they found new jobs in a different industry. So yes, things change, and it's not worth worrying about the future, I think. Like,
I'm not worried.
We'll always find something else. Even
and
if print on demand disappears eventually, we'll be fine.
That too. But I think there's always going to be room for creatives that can create something that's so different and innovative, because that's part of being an artist, is creating and doing things that are new and innovative. So
if anything, it's a disadvantage, I think, to ignore AI, because if it is going to be AI that takes over a lot of things, then if you don't know anything about it, you might be more likely going to be left out. So I think staying clued up on it is definitely good. And also, let's imagine like the worst case scenario, print on demand sellers get kicked out of all the platforms in a year and like the business model is dead. You've still learned so many valuable skills through this. It's not like the time has just been wasted. You've grown through the experience of building this business. So you will still be way more better equipped for any like future ventures. So yeah, that's just something to remember as well.
Yeah. Even when you lose, you learn. So that's good.
Yeah.
Cool. Last question. Since we're on here, I just wanted to let people know, because one of the main things about AI is it can't read your mind. You have to actually tell AI what to build, and that's with prompts, right? So what are some good tips for writing good prompts for creating good AI art?
Yeah. So it depends on the tool, I would say, first of all.
Okay.
Leonardo tends to do better with more descriptive prompts, at least from my experience. But you might know best because you use it more than I do, I think.
Yeah.
Midjourney, I think, works very well with simplistic, basic prompts now. Like you don't have to do the very long things. General tips that I would give people, and I mean, these are fairly obvious, but I think they're super powerful still. So adding white background will make it easier for you to remove the background after, because unfortunately they still just generate JPEGs, right? And we ideally want a PNG without a background. White background tends to work better for me than black or dark background.
Interesting. Okay.
And I don't know why, but it seems like removing the background when it's black is more challenging. I don't know if that's just me, but also adding things like keywords such as contour, sharp outline, like anything that would help you get a more clear outline. Maybe you could do a rounded design. I've done this before, like rounded sunset, for example. That should push the design in a more clear format where, again, removing the background becomes easier, because that's just one of those tedious, annoying processes after. And yeah, it also looks neater if you've got like a round shape, for example, that the design is contained within. Yeah, you could do like contained within a circle, maybe.
Oh, nice. I never used that. Okay.
Round sticker design is another one. So those are some good keywords, I think, to try out. And I would recommend testing different styles. You can, if you're not very creative with coming up with these, you can use ChatGPT. I've also made a video in the past showing how to like generate lots of t-shirt prompts for Midjourney, where it just swaps out the styles and adds different keywords in, and ChatGPT essentially does a lot of the thinking outside the box in terms of styles for you. So that way you can often find interesting phrases or things, words to add to your prompt to get a different style that might suit your niche better, or might just create a different vibe that helps you stand out in search results.
Okay. Yeah, those are great tips. Yeah, some I didn't think about the contour or in the shape of, or that's pretty cool. All right, well, I think we've answered all the questions I had. Hopefully these are all the questions that people have had for AI. I wanted to note that you also have a lot of downloads for AI, right? Can you talk a little bit about that? Some free downloads to help people with AI or print on demand in general, I guess, too.
Yeah, so I've got a page where you can download freebies. And it's not just AI. So it started off with a free print-on-demand graphics bundle, which is sort of ideal for people starting out. It has some vintage sunsets, some rainbows. It has some like decorative graphics. I think sunglasses are maybe in there. So there's a few bits and bops that will help you like start out with designing stuff. But now I've added more bundles to this freebie section. So there is, I think now there's 2 prompt guides for Midjourney, and you can try the prompts for other tools as well. One of them is more general with a lot of different styles, and the other prompt guide is for Halloween specifically, which is obviously coming up, so that might be worth checking out.
Nice.
And besides those, there's also some free textures, some free mock-ups, and I think some other graphics that you can use in your designs as well. There's quite a few free things in there, so you can check them out. And you can download them. I think only one of them you have to give me an email. The rest you can literally just download as is.
Nice. Wow. Okay, I'll make sure to put it. It's not on this Philip anders.com, is it? Or
No,
no,
it's on a
I have a
separate
link.
page, but
It's a separate page. I'll
yeah,
put that in link in the description so you guys have access to that. So awesome.
thank you.
Thanks so much, Philip, to be here on my channel. I think you've answered this phenomenally. Of course, AI is always changing, so we might have to do this, regularly and update people
Tomorrow,
on
do another one tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. But it's so cool to have you on my channel. I'm glad I finally got to do this, and this is a great video. I think it's going to be really, really helpful for people just getting into AI, or maybe they started AI and don't know the next steps or what to do with it. So this has been great. Thanks
Yeah,
again.
really fun conversation. Thanks a lot for having me on. I think we covered a lot of ground, a lot of different questions, and I hope it does help people out, especially if you're new to AI. It can be quite confusing. So yeah, good questions, and thanks a lot for having me on for the interview.
Oh yeah, anytime. Well, we'll see you again next time, or see you soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
See you, Philip. Bye.